What is up, guys? We are back with another video, and we are going to talk about the Metropolitans over there in New York and the epic meltdown that they've been having the last couple of weeks, month, 2 months. Now, this was a team that really started off the year in the offseason with a bang. They went out and signed one of the biggest free agents that we've ever seen in a long time, probably since, I can't remember, since A-Rod. But they went out and signed Juan Soto to a mega deal, $700+ million. They went out and signed some other guys like Clay Holmes and some other pitchers and stuff like that. And they had a huge lead. They looked like a lock to make the playoffs. This was not even a question. You know, I'm kind of a downer on the Mets. They kind of do some good things, and Steve Cohen's been a guy that's made some good moves, going out and getting guys like Francisco Lindor and stuff like that, and I think he's done a good job, but as we've learned, you cannot buy a playoff team. You can't buy it. You've got to supplement it with other guys, and I know they've got guys like Brett Beatty and Tong, this other pitcher, so they've got some younger guys in there, but this team has just kind of faltered, and we're going to go over that in this video. And if I'm looking down, I've got my little laptop here, and I'm going to be going a little bit more on an analysis kind of thing with this video. I'm not going to be going off the cuff, rambling like a rambling idiot that you see all the time, but we're going to go over this, and I just want to address this last series. And they went up against Jacob deGrom yesterday. He's now with the Texas Rangers. He's had a really, really good year. I'm really surprised. He hasn't really gotten hurt at all, and he's just putting up great numbers, and he came in here and he dominated. He looked really good. He shut down the Mets and everything like that. And then you go into today's game. They lost to the Texas Rangers 3-2 in terrible fashion. They had a lead going into the 8th inning. The Mets had 2 runs, and then the Rangers in the 8th inning and the 9th inning put up 3. And, you know, if the Giants win and they put the Mets out of playoff contention, that is a huge collapse that we haven't seen from, since, the early 2000s Mets, when they had that big lead in the NL East and they blew it on the last day of the season. So we're going to kind of go over that. There's a couple of tweets that I thought were super good that I kind of want to address. I'm going to put them on the screen right now while I'm reading them so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But the first one is from a guy that he's an on-field reporter for the Mets, and he said, "The mood in the Mets clubhouse can be best described as perplexed." And I really understand that because, like I said, they were having a good year. They were doing great. They had a good, solid lead. Everything looked like it was going into place, like this was their year. I believed it too. I thought, like I said, I don't really root for the Mets. I kind of poo on them a little bit. And I'm kind of like a Debbie Downer. I'm kind of like the opposite of Giraffe Neck Mark, as you can see. But, they had a good lead. They were doing good. So I understand why they would kind of be perplexed. What the heck is going on, guys? What's going on? Why can't we win a game? So he goes on to say, "Players insist they're preparing the right way, embracing the urgency, and maintaining the right attitude." And I believe that. I mean, you're not going to go into a clubhouse and see guys moping around, not caring. You maybe see that, maybe with a few players or whatever. But they're putting everything out there on the lines. They're working hard. They're going out there trying to win. So I understand that. They're just scuffling right now. They look at the talent in the room and believe it has to turn around. I can't really see the rest of the tweet. Like I said, I'll put it up here. But yeah, I mean, I hope they turn it around. They're a good team. They spent a lot of money. They have a $300+ million payroll. So yeah, they should turn it around. I hope so. And then this other tweet here I want to look over from Mr. Boob Nightingale, the classic guy that always gets it right and everything like that. And he says, "The New York Mets go down again and now officially have blown their huge wild card lead after losing their 8th consecutive game." That's another thing. They're on a huge losing streak. And, I'm going to plug my Seattle Mariners wherever I can get it. So, and the Mariners have won 7 straight. So maybe you, as the Mets team, should look at what they're doing right. Just joking. The San Francisco Giants move into a tie with the Mets for the final NL wildcard berth. Unreal collapse. And that's true. So right now, I'm going to go over an article here, and we're going to kind of go over, kind of why the Mets have kind of faltered. And there's a CBS article. Once again, I'm going to kind of highlight it here. I'll put it up there. I'll put the link and everything. And kind of the stuff I'm reading, I'll kind of put up there as well so you guys can kind of read along with me. So the first note they have here is rotation collapse. And I mean, that is exactly true. I'm going to highlight two guys that have really faltered. And the first guy, they went out and got Clay Holmes. So Clay Holmes, former closer for the Yankees. Maybe he's a plant from the Yankees, and he's sabotaging the team. Just kidding. Also, once again, I'm just kidding. But he started out pretty good, and, you know, as the season has gone on, he's progressively got worse. And I mean, it makes sense. He's normally a bullpen guy. He's not used to the big workload of a starting pitcher. So I can kind of see that. I kind of understand where that's going. And then they brought in guys like Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, Griffin Canning, and then Kodai Senga. That's the other guy here that I kind of want to address. Kodai Senga, since he's come over, has looked great. He's looked dominant. He's got that ghost forkball, and, you know, I thought he was going to do good. He started off the year really good, and he has just been horrible. Absolutely horrible. I'll go ahead and put up his stats as well, but the last couple of starts and everything like that has just been atrocious. It has been so bad. But then we're going to scroll down here, and as it says in the CBS article, the first half ERA for the Mets, 3.38. So not bad. That's pretty good. That's obviously pretty good for a rotation. And their fielding independent pitching FIP, 3.87. So those are really solid numbers. And then in the second half for ERA, 5.10. So an ERA of over 5. That's not going to win you a whole lot of games. And when you get into the postseason, pitching is really what wins games. And then they're fielding independent pitching for the second half, 4.07. So kind of a one-run difference there. So, you know, they've been a lot worse. The FIP maybe kind of paints a different picture, like they've kind of come down to earth a little bit, but still not great. And then we're going to go down here and, you know, they bring up some offense. The offense has stepped up. So in the first half, the offense had an OPS of 7.38. The second half, 7.82. So yeah, guys like Juan Soto, who I want to talk about here as well. Was he worth the contract? Yes, he was. He has been, you know, he started off kind of cold, and he did that kind of with the Padres, kind of stumbled a little bit. His average isn't where you really would like it. Kind of the low, you know, 260, 270. But he's hitting bombs. He hit his 40th home run today. He's stealing bases, which I made an off-season video talking about Juan Soto signing with the Mets. And he's not a stolen base guy. But he is now in the 40-30 club, the first guy to ever do that in Mets history. So this isn't Juan Soto's fault, voice crack. But, yeah, the offense has kind of stepped up here. So that's not really part of the downfall. Maybe they're not hitting in the clutch or whatever. But I think it's definitely the pitching. You can look at kind of like the bullpen. So we've got about 2 weeks left in the season. Can they ride this out and get better? You know what? I don't know. I think they have the talent to do it. I think their pitching is kind of struggling. That's the big issue here, and that's what they bring up in this CBS article, is the pitching is kind of taxed out. They don't have that number one starter. Like, you know, maybe Kodai Senga could have been that guy if, you know, he's been consistent and pitching well for the entire season, but he hasn't. And then you've got guys that are, like, breaking down that heavy workload, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, and then you've got rookie guys in there like Tong, who's got talent, but I don't know. They look really bad. So if they can put it on in these last 2 weeks, maybe, but you know what? It just might be another Lowell Mets season where they miss the playoffs. But if you like this video, comment down below. Tell me, do you think the Mets have it in them that they're going to make the playoffs, or is this another early collapse like they had in the early 2000s? Let me know down below, like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.